Hey everybody, welcome to the Saturday stream. Gonna be working on a pretty cool miniature today. Just got him in the mail and took the time before the stream to do some prep work while I was working on some of our other stuff. So we've got our Terminator Librarian here. And I've done a little bit of conversion work to him. It's like some kind of subtle stuff that's not gonna really like jump out. Probably the biggest thing is going to be the head of this force stave that he's got, because the model only comes with like one option, and it's a force stave. And this kind of like halberd bit comes from the Deathwing box set, which can make the Deathwing Terminators, the Deathwing Knights, or the Deathwing Command Squad. So it's this like cool halberd with like an incense burner in the middle. And this is kind of a unique shape, so I figured instead of just putting a straight up axe on there or something else, like this could be within a reasonable doubt, like a force stave or a force axe or whatever that I wanted to equip him with. Because currently the way I have my list set up for the Deathwing is he's just got a storm bolter and a force stave, because it's like the cheapest option for him to fit into the list. But it's entirely possible that when the Deathwing Codex comes out, points could change. I might be able to fit a force axe on him. So, I mean, it works for either or. That's kind of what we were going for here. A couple of other little small things. You can see he's got the little inner circle dagger that a lot of the Deathwing dudes have. He's got a little tilt plate on that one shoulder, which is something the Dark Angels like to have on their armor. And storm bolter, get them barrels drilled out, everything. Otherwise, he's a pretty stock model, and he's a really cool model to begin with. I kind of wished that I would have been able to paint him in a little bit more sub-assemblies, like done some sub-assemblies with him, but just the way the model is sculpted, it didn't make sense. Like, it just didn't, like the way that he's kind of clamshelled together with the cape molded on and like a leg kind of molded into the cape already, and the head is like molded into the chest piece, and this little like standard with the book is molded onto the back. Like, it's kind of a model that you have to paint in one piece, and that's not a big deal. We can probably get by just fine painting him in one piece. I'm not too worried about it. The only thing that I did in a sub-assembly was just the chapter shoulder pad that I left off, because I have a whole bunch of these Deathwing shoulder pads laying around, and he's going to be a Deathwing librarian, so wanted to make sure that we could have like a really nice Deathwing embossed shoulder pad on there. And I already went ahead and did most of the armor work up on it with our airbrushing for our nice bone color, because I was also working on another one of our Deathwing Terminators. So I went ahead and did all the airbrushing on him, and he's got a gloss coat right now. You can see he's super shiny. So probably just be kind of doing some stuff with him during the stream as well while we're waiting for paint to dry, because he needs a wash. We gotta wash this shoulder pad because it's nice and glossed up as well. But the main focus is going to be our Terminator Librarian, and I'm going to be using some new paints, some new colors that I haven't really used before, so that'll be fun. And we're just going to go through like a really clean airbrush workup for his blue Librarian armor, and see how these colors work out, because I haven't used these blues before, so it'll be kind of exciting. Where's the model from? Oh, it's just a generic Terminator Librarian from Games Workshop. This is I think the only one they sell that is generic. The other one they sell is the Blood Angels Librarian in Terminator armor, and the other ones are just normal Librarians in normal like Mark 7 power armor. And he's just, plastic kit, came on a single sprue. Got him right here. Just normal, generic Librarian Terminator armor. And you can kind of see from the instructions that you can kind of see why I didn't paint him in subs, is because of how the model goes together. Like, all of this stuff is molded as one piece, and like all this stuff right here is molded as one piece. And I didn't feel like painting each individual arm separately. That seemed like really annoying to do, so It'll be fine. I'm used to painting stuff in one piece anyways. Kalini, what's up? Oogly checking in. Blind Aggro's here. What's up, man? Hope the stream went well after I left. I had to get some work done. This is what I was doing. I had to get both these models primed and pre-shaded, and I went ahead and did the airbrush workup on this one Terminator because I'm still working on this squad. I think this is going to be number 4, and then I've got one more. And I don't know if this is the case or if this was just a mistake, but like there is 2 of these Terminators, so I would have to go back and look at a picture and see what actually comes in the Dark Vengeance box, because I thought all 5 of the squad were individuals. I didn't think there was any repeat sculpts, but it's entirely possible that 2 of them just have are repeats. So there's this guy, and then the 5th member is the exact same sculpt as this one. So I don't know if that was a mistake or if that's how the box came. It's so long ago I don't remember, but I've got 3 of them done, and after this one more to go. And then I've got the squad of Deathwing Knights and another squad of Terminators that I'll be doing. There's 2 of... Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, they look fine. They're fine models. So, I kind of show off the last one that we worked on, because this guy we started painting on stream. So this was the model we were painting last time. And if you remember, we started the stream with his armor already done, except for edge highlights, because I shot the painting process of that and cut that into the latest studio tutorial over on the Jacket Club's YouTube channel. So if you want to see the armor workup that I do for these specific Deathwing, this like super contrast bone armor, you can head over to the Jacket Club's YouTube page and watch that video. It's about 15 minutes long. It's quick and to the point. Last time on stream we blocked in pretty much all the colors, got him almost completely finished. There was like a couple of tiny little things, like some little like teeny tiny extra highlights that I wanted to do with like the greens and some of that stuff, but I went ahead and got him finished between, because like, I need to keep these rolling. Like I can't only paint this stuff on stream because I don't have enough time in streams leading up to Adepticon to get everything finished. So I think the only thing you really missed was like a couple of green highlights and me doing the cracking on the armor, which to be perfectly honest, I probably would not have been able to do very well on stream because it's such a in detail like freehand process that I have to have the mini like right up close to my face to be able to see it well. So I don't know if I would have been able to capture that on camera very well, but he's got some nice little like cracks on his armor, cracking that power fist, and just wanted to show you guys since that was what we were working on last time. Tequila, what's up, man? Yeah, and I've got the other 2. So I've got like the Sergeant, and we did most of him on stream with his cool purple power sword. It's got some cat hair on it. Get out of there. And then the second one we did was the assault cannon Terminator. I was gonna call him an assault Terminator, but I don't think that's the right terminology. But he's got the assault cannon and the green power fist. And so far, I've really liked the checkerboard pattern on all these guys. It really works. And I do like having little callbacks to kind of those like old school paint jobs that really like captured my imagination, like way back in the 2002, 2003, of that kind of like 3rd, 4th edition kind of paint job, like harkening back to the Rogue Trader stuff. So I'm going to do that for like somewhere on all of them, and that'll look really cool. Yeah, the assault cannon guy he's definitely like a really, really good Terminator. He's got a really great pose. So far, I think what we're going to be doing with the project is we've got that squad, which is the Dark Vengeance set, and then I'm going to be doing a normal squad of Terminators from the multi-part box. So that squad, even though they're the same like loadout and everything, they'll look different because they're different poses and different sculpts. And then the 3rd squad is going to be Deathwing Knights. And I already built and started painting them, but decided to change the armor workup. So you can see there's a pretty big difference between this armor workup, which is what I originally did, and the new one. You like really tailors a whole lot of difference. So these guys will probably end up getting stripped, just because I want to keep these specific models because I took the time to convert them with the cataphracti legs and all that kind of good stuff. So I just need to find the time to like put those in some simple green for a few days and strip them before I can get to work. But I'll probably end up doing those last, because I'm kind of I don't want to say like pioneering because I'm not the first person to do it, but like for myself, I'm kind of pioneering some techniques that I haven't gotten into before. So kind of what is happening is I'm trying to keep everything similar, but certain things are getting better and better with each one. And I really want the Deathwing Knights to be like something special. So I'm going to do those last after I've worked out all of the kinks and little foibles in the paint job. And I can execute all those things like perfectly on those guys. Yeah, the Dark Vengeance ones are really cool. And I've got Belial. Like we painted up a Belial, which is this custom fig that I got from Captain Calico. And you can see that his armor is kind of similar. Like there's not a whole lot of contrast in the colors, so I wasn't as pleased with this outcome as I was the newer ones that I'm doing. And since I was gonna buy another miniature from him anyways to paint on stream, I just went ahead and bought a duplicate of this mini, and he's not gonna have a banner, and he's gonna have his arm kind of down a little ways. Because I was kind of thinking about it, I'm like, man, this is the army I'm taking to Adepticon. I'm gonna be doing all this traveling, and I don't think this guy in this pose would survive that kind of trip. I'm just too afraid of the banner busting off there, or the sword breaking off, or something like that. So with this second one, it's the same model, he just won't have a banner, and he'll be posed a little bit differently so that he's a better like travel model, and he'll have that new paint scheme that we've been doing, so he'll look a little bit nicer. And with this one, I don't know entirely what I'm going to do with that guy yet. I might actually end up having that be kind of like a giveaway in the future after I get everything said and done, so might end up doing that. And then the other model is a Space Wolf hero, because I wanted to do a Space Wolf guy, and there was a lot of interest in his true scale hero guys, so I wanted to do a Space Wolf, and that'll be like a top donator giveaway sometime soon. And I got some other miniatures coming in as kind of like one-off projects for the stream. I don't know if any of you remember, but I think one of the last, it might have been the last, but one of the last US-based game stays had a exclusive miniature that was like a callback to the cover of Epic 40K, which is this like Blood Angel captain in power armor with a power fist. I'm not sure. I think I may have a picture of it on one of these like little postcards that I got. Let me see. Let's see. Is it? That's Titanicus. I'm almost positive that it's maybe not. Let's see, that's Horus, the Emperor. That's similar. I think this is the cover of. This is some artwork from Epic. Nurgle, the Crimson Fists. Yeah, but if we look here, like, this is one of those, like, Epic 40K art pieces that came out around that time. You can see kind of how the Blood Angels were painted back then, and it's similar. It's not this guy. It's just similar to this. You probably have to look on the internet and find it, but I picked up one of those because I wanted to paint him. You know, it would be cool for an on-stream project. You know, I get to do kind of a mix of the new cool airbrush stuff and the old school like Rogue Trader era paint schemes, and that's going to end up being a giveaway on the stream. I also bought one of the anniversary Imperial Space Marines. That's like that new plastic model that's sculpted like the old Rogue Trader art, because I've always wanted to paint one. I just never got around to it. So I picked one of those guys up. I don't know what paint scheme we're going to do for him just yet. But that'll probably end up... I don't know. I might want to keep that one. We'll see. And then after that, I think we're going to transition into doing some Infinity, because I've been wanting to get back into Infinity for a while. And not only did I buy some for myself, but I also got sent some for the Patreon rewards for Spiky Bits. And I think what I'm going to do, since I don't particularly... I'm not particularly into this faction, but I got a faction starter box. I don't think I'm supposed to have price tag shown, so I'm gonna take this off. I got a Hawk Islam, like the generic Hawk Islam faction starter. I mean, these models look great. I'm not hating on the models. Like this guy especially looks really cool. And then you've got like a sniper lady and this kind of like spec ops guy with this what are those called? Like, I don't know, a scarf, whatever, wrapped around his helmet. I think somewhere it says it, but yeah, this is like, I mean, this is a really cool starter set, and I think what I'm gonna do, since it's only like 6 models, I'm just gonna do like a really cool paint job on these, and we'll just have the whole set as a top D giveaway, and then you get to like just have a painted starter set for Infinity. It's like a great way to get into the game. Faction, it's Hawk Islam. It's the Hawk Islam faction starter. I know that Hawk Islam I think has 3 sectorals, but this is just like the normal Hawk Islam starter kit or faction starter. I like this guy in the end too. Like this guy, he's got a cool sculpt for his head. He's a cool looking mini. I think they do have a biker unit. I mean, like, without getting too much into it, like Hawk Islam is they have a cool aesthetic. It's just like I'm just not. They don't do anything for me. So that's just one of the armies I probably won't ever collect. But I mean, I'm always down to paint new models, and these guys are, you know, definitely good looking models, and could definitely do a cool paint job on them. So rather than just have this sit on my shelf forever, or like try to give it away or sell it or something, I figured I could paint it on stream, and we could do a top D giveaway for the whole set. Because I mean, like, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, you know what I could do is I could paint it on stream, and then I could sell it with like the percentage of like what I would do for a commission on it. And so if I was kind of thinking about it, I mean, like, there's 6 models. I would probably paint them to like a good standard where I'd be like charging $10, $12 a model, and then you put like the majority of the like retail price on top of that, so you're looking at like a little over $100. So that's like what I would sell it for if I were to just put it up on eBay. But if we do a top D giveaway, you could probably get it for cheaper, and, you know, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know, but it'd be fully painted, which is a massive plus. I also got some Caledonia Highlanders that I kind of want to paint, because I haven't really painted any of that Scottish cloth before. I want to give that a shot. And I have Ariadna, so I might be able to use those in the future. Pothus UK, what's up? Yeah, and then the stuff that I bought is Nomads. I have wanted to get into Nomads for a while as kind of an alternative to the stuff that I already have. Just like different models, different playstyle, different lore, that kind of thing. I ended up buying some Bakunin stuff, because the Bakunin sectoral has some really cool units, and like one of my personal favorite models in the entire range of Infinity is part of the Bakunin sectoral, which is the SWAT. It's not SWAT, it's like SWAST, so SWAST guys that are these like big hulking power armor dudes, and they're just amazing. So those are going to be part of the collection. I think it's like 9 models in total. It's like nine models, and then there's like a handful of little like crazy koalas and 10 bots that go along with them as like supporter things. But I don't know if I'll paint those or not. Usually when I have stuff like that in Infinity, I just use a token because it's so much easier. But we'll see. I'm waiting to get those in the mail, and then the plan, as it is that I would like to get all the stuff finished for the upcoming tournaments. So the Imperial Guard stuff I need to paint for the January Long War Doubles, and then finishing the Deathwing for Adepticon. And if we time manage right, I should be able to get all that stuff out of the way, and then we can kind of leisurely paint through some Infinity while we're like building up to Adepticon, so that way there's no like time crunch right before. So we'll see. Hopefully, I mean, you know, the best laid plans of mice and men. So we'll see. All right, so I think we've done quite enough talking. We need to get into painting this guy. And librarians always have blue armor. The blue can differ from person to person. I've seen a ton of different ones. But I'm going to be trying to keep the same style of armor workup going across all these models. Even though he's going to be blue, I want to keep this like high contrast style going with the armor workup. And we're going to be using some blues that I haven't really used before, because I bought into the Vallejo Mecha color line, and they have some really cool blues, so I wanted to give those a shot. So we've got Mecha color Titan blue, which is really dark, nice dark royal blue. Then we've got just blue, which is kind of a primary medium tone blue. And then I've got light blue, which is a very bright pastel blue. And we'll be doing an armor workup with these through the airbrush. These are probably the Army Painter system for washes. And just working on him. I'm not really going to focus too much on our base, because it's just another one of those Lion Ruin bases that I've been using for all the Deathwing. I think you've seen me paint like 6 of them by now, so not really going to focus too much on that. Chief Figure, yeah, man, I'm working on it. I kind of want to do. I want to finish this squad of Deathwing so I can get all the kinks worked out, and then I can probably paint the remainder of my Imperial Guard stuff in like a weekend. It's not going to take me very long. But these guys take quite a bit longer to get through, so I just wanted to get like one squad out of the way and then take a break and then come back to it. Yeah, the mech colors. As far as consistency goes, they're very similar to Game Air. Almost to the point where I kind of suspect that if they weren't called Mecha Color, they'd be called like Mecha Air, like all the other Vallejo Air paints, because like they feel almost exactly like their pre-thinned airbrush lines. Like when they come out of the bottle, they're almost exactly the same. So I just think that's kind of what they tooled them for. That's kind of the type of paint they were going for. It's just called Mecha Color. But we're gonna start off with this Titan blue, which is about like that. And then I'm just going to put some thermal improver in here. And we'll get to spraying. I was thinking of starting with like some of the blue that I normally start with, which is the dark Prussian blue, which is beautiful paint. But I've used that so many times, I just kind of wanted to branch out into some different stuff, and I haven't really tried these Mecha colors too much. I'm just be trying to get kind of a nice even base coat on all this stuff. Kind of like with the rest of the Deathwing stuff, I'm not too worried about blocking out our pre-shade. The pre-shade is more of a guideline than anything else. Just so that I could kind of do a practice run of where I want our highlights to be when I started playing with these colors. And I mean, like, a little bit of it shows through still. Like, you're gonna have some darker and brighter points of these blues as we apply them. And so far, this mecha color is just being super smooth. I could probably thin it out a little bit more than I did with this coat. But I mean, this is working beautifully right now, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay. Alright, it's looking fine. Really nice solid blue. It's a little bit brighter than I kind of expected it to be. It's definitely brighter than what the dark Prussian blue would have been, but that's totally cool. I don't think our contrast is going to change much at all. Okay, then we'll just go up to our normal mecha color blue, which is going to be a little bit brighter. Flow improver out. Don't think that's going to be very much of a color. I mean, like, you can kind of see it, but might end up having to go up a few more notches in the final colors. Let's go up to our light blue. See what that does for us. Knight's Armory. Oh, it's going good, man. I got the mecha paints from Amazon. This is the only place I could find them. Kind of getting there. For the mecha colors, I had to buy them all individually, actually. JP great with that sub. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Let's see. I'm just going to mix a little bit of our white primer into this light blue just to get it a little bit brighter. see if I can get a little bit more. Yeah, that's a little bit more what I was wanting. I think I'm gonna try to get a couple of these little at the corners of this little metal hood thing that he's wearing. Kind of like that. There we go. You can get a little bit right in there, like so. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. I think that's the transition we were looking for right there. Oh, we need to do the back of that arm. Good thing I saw it. Like that. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I think we need to get this belt buckle right there in the middle like that. And we got a pretty nice shine going down the center line there. That's about what we needed. Cool. Rinse this color out. So JP Gray is going to be my partner for the SoCal Long War doubles. So are you going to make it to Adepticon too, JP? Or just, is this all you can do this year? So remember last year you really wanted to go to Adepticon, but I think you couldn't get leave or something. And you're a civvy now. Clean it, run through this. Going to do both? Cool, man. You'd be awesome. I should have a t-shirt for you. I just got them in the mail, so I'm gonna have to do a tally and make sure that I have enough for everybody. I ordered 12. Yeah, I ordered 12. So there will be 10 to be given out. So I'm sure I have enough. All right, let's get all that blue paint out of there. Let's go ahead and gloss coat. Gloss coat this bad boy so we can give him a nice clean wash. So are you gonna be traveling with Rob? Because I thought the last time I'd heard you kind of lived in the same area, but I don't know if you moved or not, or like how close y'all were to begin with, as far as like travel distance goes. Because I don't, is he flying or is he? He'd probably fly. I mean, North Carolina is like, that's a way longer drive than going to a Adepticon. So I know for the California doubles, I'm flying, but I'm driving to Adepticon. Let that set up. Let's get all this varnish out of here. Never ever want to let that varnish dry inside of your airbrush. That is some bad news bears. Alright, set the airbrush aside. Give our compressor a rest. Let's give this a second to fully set up. I think we can go ahead and put a wash on our Deathwing stuff while we wait. Just mix us up some of that army painter wash. $40K Ray, what's up? And for Deathwing portions, we're gonna need some strong tone and some dark tone. And if you haven't seen me do this before, the way that I like to work it is I'll put in our quick shade wash mixing medium from Army Painter, and then I'll take whatever color we want our wash to be and put that in there. And then I'm gonna mix it up. because this quick shade medium tends to kind of brighten up whatever wash you put it with a little bit. You can see it's got that little bit of that like kind of milkiness to it, that it's kind of brightening that up. Give it a little test. It's pretty bright. So then we're going to take some dark tone, that's strong tone. Take some dark tone and we'll just add drops of that as needed to kind of darken it back down. I think 4 will be enough. Chapter am I doing? So hey, thanks for that follow, 40k Ray. The current project I'm working on is some Deathwing. So the first company of the Dark Angels chapter is called the Deathwing, and they all wear, it's like bone-colored Terminator armor. And this Librarian is going to be part of that Deathwing as well. But Librarians always wear blue power armor with only the chapter-specific shoulder pad being the chapter colors. So that's why I have this one left off, so I could paint it in our Deathwing workup separately. And we're just putting a wash on it. And I've also got another Deathwing Terminator over here that I've been working on. So while we're waiting for the gloss coat to set up on our blue Librarian, I'm just gonna go ahead and put a wash on this Terminator here. And he's also been gloss coated, so I can be pretty aggressive with this wash. It's not really gonna stain anywhere. So you can be really aggressive, just like if you see it pooling up too much in any one spot, just kind of wick it away with your brush. That's about all you need right there, just to redefine the details. So after we're done putting a wash on this guy, I'll mix up another wash for our Librarian, because we're gonna have that be a blue base instead of this one, which is kind of a dark brown base. And for any of you guys that have kind of come in or are fairly new to the channel and haven't seen me do this Deathwing bone armor workup, it's like high contrast bone armor workup with the airbrush. This model that I'm putting a wash on right now, I recorded the video of me airbrushing this and then cut that into a studio tutorial. It's about 15 minutes long, and that's over on the Jack of Clubs painting YouTube channel, so you can go over there. I think the bot is he'll propagate the YouTube link at some point, but you can go over there, and I've got stream VODs of our previous streams, so you can watch those. And I've also got so far 2 studio tutorials, one for Line Company Dark Angels with their green armor, and then I have one with the new one, which is the airbrush workup for our Deathwing bone color armor. Do some Crimson Fists. Yeah. Well, this guy is pretty much the same as what I would do for Crimson Fists. If I was going to do like Ultramarines or Crimson Fists, I would probably do a very similar blue workup as what I did here. So that might give you some cool insight. Oh, you like the more the darker version of the Crimson Fist? Yeah, I mean that's fine. I think even the Crimson Fist librarians, like the librarian blue is kind of a different thing, even from Ultramarines and Crimson Fists. Like all the stuff I've seen from GW, it's almost like a powder blue. It's a little bit lighter, kind of a sky blue, which is kind of similar to what we've worked up here. It's just that there's like way more contrast to the highlights. So we're going from a really dark blue to an ultra bright blue, with those nice highlights in between. If I was gonna do Crimson Fists like this, I would probably just start from straight black and then do like a really dark blue and then like kind of a medium blue, and then like maybe like just the smallest amount of a bright blue, just so that you have like a really really deep dark base to go from. Let's see, where'd my quick sheet go? There it is. Get some more of our medium out. And then, since this is going to be a blue base, we'll go with our blue tone. And just like with the other one, I'll mix up just the medium and the blue tone first. And then we'll darken it back down with some drops of dark tone as needed. Squirt a little water in there. You can kind of see how bright that tone becomes when it's mixed with the medium. So I like to have the dark tone on hand, because if I just put this straight onto the model as is, it probably wouldn't give us very much of a shade in the recesses, because this is almost brighter than a lot of the blue paint that we actually have on the model. We want it to be really dark. So I'll just take some, just put 4 drops in there and see what that gets us. Dark tone. This dark tone is kind of almost a pure black. It's more of a brown black, but it's like their black wash. Even that's not really doing it for me. So I'll add a little bit more. That's why I like doing it incrementally, because it's really easy when you're trying to add black to something to add too much black, and then when you mix it up it just becomes black, rather than a darker shade of the color you were originally working with. Let's see. Actually gonna go just a shade darker, just for good measure. Okay, we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to be pretty aggressive with this. Try to avoid getting too much on the face, just because we're going to be painting that a totally different color. So I don't want too much wash to get on there. But for all this armor, I do want this wash to get all up in there. And just like I was saying with the other guy, if you get a little bit too aggressive with the wash and you have too much, you can always just kind of wick it away. So like up here on the top, I don't want so much wash on our brighter section. So I can just kind of dab a little bit off with the paper towel, wick some more away, keep coming back to it, so that our highlights don't get totally blacked out. I'm just trying to get some of this wash out from around his head because I don't want that drying and like obscuring any of those cool cables in his psychic hood. We're good there. Oh yeah, I gotta remember how many drops. Yeah. Put these away. I think what I might actually end up doing is, let's see, get out some of our Nuln Oil gloss and just see if I can kind of mix it in a little bit without mucking anything up. Just in some of these details, just kind of let it flow in with the wash. So as I was looking at it, I was like, I probably should have just gone with the black wash to begin with, but this will be fine because everything's still so wet. You can just kind of sneak this in there, let it kind of mingle. Just gotta make sure I'm not letting it pool up anywhere and blasting out any detail. Probably good enough. Kind of get it out of these gap sections. Just a little bit more definition. See if I can get some back here. Okay. I think that's good. We'll just let that dry for now. So we're gonna let him dry. Let's check out our stuff. It's almost dry. Just a couple of little recesses. Oh, this guy's got a whole lot. Check that. There we go. There we go. Glad I looked at that. That would not have been very sightly. So I guess we're waiting. I can just go ahead and work on this base a little bit. No big deal. Just airbrush this stuff real quick while I wait for Mr. Blue Armor to dry. Okay. Okay. Rinse it out. We'll go to a dark brown for our dirt. Okay. Get our charred brown from Game Air. This is probably like the #1 go-to brown that I use for like brown dirt earth stuff as a base. Okay, there we go. Just let that sit. Give that just a second. We'll throw a wash on there. For our bases, I've liked using our Agrax Earthshade Gloss for these bases. It's just like really easy to put on, and I don't have to go with the whole gloss coat first thing. And especially because it has all this like really intricate like stonework and these broken tile pieces, the gloss helps to like really pop those out, and it also gets into a lot of the detail on this marble lion head. Okay, see. Can you see what I'm talking about? So like on the finished base, we just had that gloss wash, and then after a matte coat, we just went in and dry brushed some skeleton bone onto these tile pieces and onto this ivory to just bring all that detail back out, and it's really nice and clean. And then I paint the plants separately, just because they're a totally different color than the rest of the stone and dirt. But with that gloss wash and a little dry brush, all of that stonework comes right out in really nice detail. Where I get these bases, these are some old Cybor miniatures bases. That's SCIBOR. These are called Lion Ruins bases. I believe he still has some, but they're a different sculpt than these. They look very different. I got these bases on clearance from Cool Mini or Not, and I think I bought out the rest of their stocks of 40 mil because they only had like a certain number left. But I know that you can go over to Cybor's website directly, and he has some Lion Ruins bases, but they're like a new sculpt. They're different than these. They're similar, but they're different. Because like normally I would just suggest Cool Mini or Not, but over the past year, Cool Mini has been going through kind of a transition thing to really be only pushing their owned IPs rather than like stocking a lot of stuff. So I don't think they're getting restocks of any of that Cyborg stuff. You're gonna have to go to him directly. Like they're not getting restocks of Infinity. They're not getting new Infinity. They're not getting restocks of like the majority of the stuff they sell on their website, because they're really just pushing straight for like the board games that they sell and Dark Age and Wrath of Kings. And as far as I know, the only thing they got restocked was like maybe some Secret Weapon Miniatures stuff and the Dark Age stuff. But pretty much everything else is just like once it's gone, it's gone. And oops. Since when we decided to add a third squad of Terminators in the Librarian to the army, instead of just doing 2 squads and a vehicle, I had to go back and see if they had any more, and I think they only had like 2 packages left of these, and I bought those, and then I needed 2 hero bases, or like 1 hero base, and so I had to buy a different style of base from Cyborg that was very similar to these, but just doesn't have the lion head. And I'm sure if I just paint it in the exact same colors, it'll blend right in. But these specific Lion Ruins bases, I don't think he makes anymore. He makes a different one now that you have to buy from him. And the only reason I did that was because Cyborg is based over in Eastern Europe, so it takes quite a long time to get stuff direct from him. And I needed something like that was fast and easy, because I wanted to make sure I had all the bases that I needed right now. Ragnar Twitch, exactly. That is his website. You'll have to go to the bases section and look for them. I know that they're called like Lion Bases or Lion Ruins or Lion Temple or something like that. But like when you pull the picture, you'll see they're similar, but they're not these exact bases. He had to make a new sculpt. As far as I know, Cyborg uses silicone molds for all of his stuff, which is why a ton of his product is kind of limited run. So I'm sure that just these were probably cast like a number of years ago, and the silicone mold wore out, and he had to sculpt a new one and make a new mold. And between that time, Cool Mini or Not stopped getting restocks from him. Still getting a little bit of this stuff is still kind of wet. See if I can kind of soak it up out of there. So I want this stuff to get nice and dry before I matte coat over top of it. Hey, what's up, Sophies? How's it going, man? For all you new people, you make sure to go check out Sophies Gaming. He is the resident painting guru. He's the Master Yoda. And he made my hat. So if you like my hat, you can go over to his website and get one custom made for you too. I need to look into getting some of those paint racks. I'm gonna have to figure out how to reorganize this desk because the ones that I'm using are just kind of not working. Like I have one that's from Vallejo, and it's kind of a stair, like a tiered thing, and then I have this one that comes in the set. Like if you buy a scale color set, the comprehensive scale color set, they send you this really nice like aluminum paint rack that just slides out of the box with all the paints already stuck in it and color organized, but it's like totally flat, so it takes up this like 1 foot by 1 foot square over here on the left side of my desk. And what eventually happens is every time I organize it, I end up pulling paint off of it as I need the colors, and then I want the colors to be like in front of my face, and so then I just end up having a sea of paint bottle droppers out here again within like a week. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what I need to do, because one of the main things with having the vertical racks is that I would want them to be right in front of me, but I have my monitor right in front of me with my face cam mounted on it. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to kind of reorganize things so I can still have the monitor up here. What that might mean is that I just need to like move the monitor up to like a shelf, or see if I can get some kind of tall mounting bracket for it. I don't know. It's like the paint racks are on my radar, but they're not really a priority right now. Just because I need to figure out the reorganization before I actually purchase them. I have to see what I need to do. So the other thing is I have this really nice shelf that's part of the desk. It's like a metal movable shelf that I have like finished minis and like some other current projects on, and a lamp. So if I got rid of the shelf, I would have to put all those finished minis somewhere else. And it's a whole thing. Yeah. Oh, you can put the monitor on top of it? Oh, okay. Well, I might check that out. Yeah, it's because like I mean it's mostly me. Like I mostly just need to organize myself rather than keep putting it off. I just need to organize. Because like when we moved in, everything was perfectly organized, and then it got trashed, and then like a couple of weeks ago I reorganized everything, and then it's already trashed again. So like if I'm moving, like you can see why I'm always hunting for paints, because it's just like a sea of paint bottles in front of me, but they're always right in front of my face, so that's how I like it. Let's go up a little bit. There we go. Move him back here so it's a more comfortable painting position. What's up, nerd? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's been a good day. Finally got this freaking new wheelchair problem solved. Oh my god, I was getting so frustrated because the VA was just not doing their job. Ugh. Oh, thanks for those bits. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I had to wait like, I think it's been 6 years. 2011. Yeah, so it's almost 7 years. When it turns 2018. Just to get a new wheelchair that was like actually custom made for me, and I ordered it in February. Like I had to drive down to San Antonio to the VA and go through the whole like custom ordering of the measurements and the parts and all that shit. And it was like it'll take 6 to 8 weeks. Of course, it took like 12 weeks. And then they had to get it to me because I live in Austin, so they had to like contract another medical supply company to actually bring it up here. And the first time they tried to bring it up here, the dude drove to Austin because he had like a couple of other deliveries to do, and I was going to be the last one before going back. Well, he got lost because his GPS wasn't working, and instead of like doing the reasonable thing, which is, you know, you call your client and be like, hey, I'm having a hard time finding your apartment, can you help me out, he just like drove back to San Antonio with no word. So then I had to wait like another month just to get the dude to come back up and actually bring me the chair. And then he brings it, and the seat back was the wrong part. It wasn't ordered correctly. And so it was just like this like 6-inch tall little strip of canvas, so like padded canvas, and like literally couldn't sit in it. Couldn't, like nobody could. You'd have to sit there like stock straight like all day long, and if you leaned back at all, you would just fall out the back of it. Like it was ridiculous. And so then that was like May when that went down. So like I've literally had this brand new wheelchair that I've waited 6 years to have, can't use it, and it's just been sitting in a closet since May, because I had to like hound them to order the part and like get the part and make sure that it was ordered properly and make sure that it was going to come in. And then like they're like, okay, we have it ordered, we're waiting on it, blah blah blah. A couple more months goes by because they were supposed to give the part to a technician that was going to come up and install it, because like we didn't know how hard it would be for like the average Joe to install, like if you needed any specialty tools or anything like that. And so it's December now, and I had to go down to the VA on Thursday for like my annual physical, and they were like, yeah, it's been sitting here in inventory for like 2 months waiting for this contractor to like come get it, and fill the order and like come up here and install it. And I was just like, dude, like just give me the part. Like just, I don't care. Like if I have to buy a fucking tool, I'll buy a tool, but I'm not waiting any longer on this, because it's just like they just handed me the box with the part in it. I'm like, how long has this been there? Like, 2 months. You're fucking kidding me. So yeah, finally I got the part installed today, and I'm just, I'm so comfortable. It's so amazing. It's so much better because it's custom made. Yeah. Because like one of the main problems, like the main reason that I had so much chronic back pain for the last 6 years was because the chair I was using wasn't custom made for me. They were just like, it was all guesstimation, like, this will work, you know. And no, it was all wrong. And we kind of figured that out because like since then, like since the time, like from the time that I got it and now in that period of years was when the VA had like that massive like government oversight investigation where they found that like all of this shit was all fucked up. And so a lot of VAs across the country had like entire departments like replaced and cycled out because people like weren't just like straight up weren't doing their job. and the person that ordered my chair and was doing the measurements, she was like, well, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong, and like this makes no sense, like why they would do this, like everything is wrong, like none of this makes sense, like it's all measured incorrectly, like it's not supposed to be this way. And I was just like, oh my god. Yeah, welcome to my world, JP. Been living this shit since 2010. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the system's like over in the United Kingdom. I mean, it's probably better, but I would imagine that like, because doesn't the UK have like a really good reputation for having like quality healthcare, and it's all uh what's the word, I want to say government funded, but I don't think that's the right word. I don't know. Yeah, it's all free or whatever. Wavensteiner, thanks for that follow. Yeah, national healthcare. This fool's just taking forever to dry. Cause I mean, like, I'm pretty sure our other Terminator is dry, but I don't want to like mix up matte coat and spray it, and then just have to wait even longer, and then have to mix it up again just to spray this guy. I'd rather just like do it all at one time. It's just taking a little while. I mean, that's fine. We still got loads of time. We're just having a nice conversation. Well, the one redeeming quality, yeah. Yeah, it's finally all figured out. So, just like, because I was getting kind of mad because it's like almost a whole year has gone by, because like I said, I ordered it, like we did all the measurements in like early February. I think like the first week of February of this year, and she said it would take like 6 weeks or something like that, because like they're all handmade, um, and or like all the parts are hand machined and everything. So like I gotta compliment them, because like they do give you like all the stuff I've gotten is like super quality, but it takes forever to get done because of the bureaucracy. Um, and I was asking if like there was any way we could put a rush on it, because I would have really liked to have had the new chair to go to Adepticon, because this one is like it's a smaller profile and it fits correctly, and it's much easier to like like get on and off airplanes and stuff, with like the new measurements. And so I was like, can I get it by the end of March? And they were like, yeah, we can put a rush order in, but it's not guaranteed. So I mean, like, to put that in perspective, like I ordered this chair before Adepticon of this year, and then it's almost time for Adepticon again. It's gonna be like in 2 months. It's gonna be Adepticon, or 2.5 months, and like I've just now finally gotten it. What's our team name? I don't know, man. I haven't really thought about it. Let's see, because I'm doing Mordians and you're doing Mechanicum. So I don't know. I'm not really good with that kind of thing. Um, I'm not creative with words. So if you have any suggestions, just like throw them out. We can decide on one. Because I don't even think Spec and I have talked about a team name for Adepticon, because I didn't know that was going to be a thing for the doubles. But we can definitely think of one. Team Oh my god. Fucking handy capable. I don't know. That might be a bit much. I don't know. I mean, we could definitely go a little tongue in cheek with it and kind of go at like, I mean, we could, let's see. Could be like, could do like Demolition Derby or something. Wicked Wombat, what's up? It's going good. Wounded Warrior. Yeah, I could. Let's see. I don't think I've talked to them in a long time. I don't know. Because I had... Let's see if I can remember. Because initially, all of my stuff was being... Like, I did have not an agent, but like a caseworker with the Wounded Warrior. And then, like, the Wounded Warrior office in... for Audie Murphy got like switched out or something. I don't even think they have an office there anymore. And then like I was actually being handled by the OIF guy, which was like super weird because I didn't ever deploy, but all of my cases were being handled by the OEF guy. And then after I became an outpatient, they like stopped that because that was for like inpatient stuff only. And I got handed over to the Wounded Warrior guys on Fort Sam Houston. But the majority of the stuff they did was, what was that place called? Like Center for the Intrepid, I think it was called. It was all about like physical rehab and amputee prosthetics. And so like I was kind of the odd duck because they didn't handle very many SCI cases. I think like in the company of like somewhere around like 400 to 500, or like the battalion of like 400 to 500, I think there was me and one other guy who was spinal cord injury. Everybody else was like more run-of-the-mill stuff. And so like a lot of their stuff got handled really quickly, and then mine like drug on. Like I was part of the Wounded Battalion at Fort Sam for like a year and a half waiting for my med board. Yeah. Tigliglee, what's up? Where? Let's see. I was stationed in New York, up at Fort Drum. I was in the Army. I didn't never deploy though. All of my stuff happened stateside before my company deployed. Mountaineers. I was an engineer. I wasn't a mountaineer. I think one of our sister companies was like the Mountaineers or something, but we were all combat engineer companies that were part of 10th Sustainment Brigade. So we were like technically part of 10th Mountain, but we were like autonomous because the battalion actually fell under the purview of the I think it's called the 18th Airborne Corps, the one with the dragon. I think it's 17 or 18th Airborne Corps out of Fort Bragg. But our battalion was actually stationed at Fort Drum as a rapid deployment unit, and while the battalion was stationed there, they fell under the jurisdiction of 10th Sustainment. Oh yeah, we got a lot of older guys. I heard Germany was a pretty good duty post. Lucky? I guess you could see it kind of like that. You could see it was a little bit lucky. I don't know. I didn't see it that way for a long time. It wasn't until I kind of grew up a little bit that I figured out that it's not like a whole lot of, it's not fun. It's not a kid's game. Oh, that's a long time. Let's see. That was one thing I didn't realize until I really got into 40K. Down in San Antonio, was just like the vast majority of the guys and gals in our hobby were all prior service or active. There's a lot of active dudes too. I mean, like, it makes sense because it's a tabletop war game. You know, it's all about like sci-fi, you know, sci-fi army battles and stuff. So I mean, like, the logic is there, but I didn't realize it until I started hanging out like the Games Workshop every day down in San Antonio, and I was just like, literally everybody in the store except for one dude is prior service. It's crazy. Spec Ops, what's up, man? All about the wargaming. Yeah. Let's see. Wasn't there a Blood Angels Codex article today? I haven't read it yet, but I think I saw some social media posts about it, like talking about the what's their thing, the Black Rage or the Blood Rage or something, the Blood Angels thing. I think they were talking about that kind of coming back. I could see, I could open a tab over to Warhammer Community and see what was up. Oh, the Red Thirst is what it's called. Oh, it's an article about it going up for pre-order today. See, we got some dice, we got some cards, we got the model upgrade kit that's kind of worthless. Lieutenant's a cool model though. I like the Lieutenant. It's got a cool sword. I don't know. Every time I see the way the Games Workshop does power swords, I'm always a little underwhelmed. Mainly because I know that they're like, I don't know, Games Workshop still kind of sees airbrushing as like quote unquote cheating, and so they don't have any cool airbrush fades on their power swords. It's all like that, like hand painted lightning stuff, which is fine, but I'm just like, I think that the airbrush power swords just look so much cooler. Tabletop Tactics. I'll have to look them up. Do they? Because there was an article where I saw that they were talking about some of the psychic powers, and it specifically stated that you couldn't cast one of the psychic powers on a unit with Black Rage. So I think the Death Company still has it. Oh, okay. I don't know. Usually when it comes to like codex stuff, like rules stuff, I usually just wait for the Long War podcast and watch that. Oh, the Primaris don't have it. That's interesting. I guess that would make sense because they're kind of like a different thing. They don't have like the pure genetic legacy of, because that's what it is, right? The Black Rage is the genetic marker that gets passed down from the psychic death of Sanguinus that causes them to go into the Black Rage. So maybe the Primaris like don't have that because they're like a gene seed from before that event, right? Because that's how he got it all, right? Because Call was like going around getting all the gene seed during the Horus Heresy. So like maybe that gene seed isn't tainted by the psychic death of Sanguinus. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. That's neat. God, sometimes with this wash, He's like almost dry everywhere except like right on the tops of his feet. So I'll just hold some air over it while we talk so that it goes a little faster. Okay, so they have the red thirst. Yeah, I guess narratively that makes sense. I mean, with a lot of the Primera stuff, you've kind of had to do some mental gymnastics to figure it out so that it makes sense, but... Planned Mary's use. Yeah, I think the Blood Angel stuff is like the one thing that really kind of forces you to notice it in the new lore, because like when I was reading Gathering Storm 3, when all that stuff happens, that did seem like a little Deus Ex Machina, like a little too heavy, where it's like you have this entire fucking Hive fleet invading Ball, and it's like the last stand of the Blood Angels, and then there's a dust storm, and they're just gone. And then Roboot Gilliman shows up, like, hey, what's up? What happened here? By the way, I have all these new Blood Angels for you. Looks like you're gonna need them. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm still hyped for Primaris, though. Like, I love the models. They're really cool. And like when they were having some of those like kind of animated, like semi-animated, what do you call that? Like, it's like animated comic book almost. Trailers where it was talking about like the like Gulliman launching the Indomitus Crusade, and it's narrated by Gulliman. Like that got me pretty hyped. Yeah, Corner's protecting his children. Yeah, I guess you could see it that way. God, it's like this one section right here on top of his foot. It's just like taking forever to dry for some reason. Everywhere else is dry. Okay. I think that's good enough. Let's check our base. Our base is probably bone dry by now. Yeah. What about this guy? Yep. Finally get back to work. Animatics, yeah. That's probably the word. High fructose corn syrup. I wonder how much it would cost for Games Workshop to have like a limited run breakfast cereal called Cornflakes and just like have it at like an event, like a games day or something. They'd probably recoup all the money they spent making it. Everybody would buy that shit. Dude, we have a little stream hiccup there. Okay, so we got him all mat coated back down, and we'll just get the rest of these things done real quick. Oh, you haven't heard? Like, that's been like I've seen that on like t-shirts and stuff for years, the whole cornflakes thing. I thought that was kind of like a common joke. see, get our cleaner out. So I think we're pretty much done with the airbrush for today. Get all that varnish out of there. Okay. All right, so I think the first bit of brush work we're gonna do on this guy is gonna be his cape. And I need a slightly larger brush. Larger bomb legs get off too. Is this one? I think it's the biggest one. I thought I had a number 2. I did. Yeah, I think the number 2 will work. Sapper Steve, what's up, man? Alright, so I think what I want to do is have like a really dark green cape. Let's see, let's look at it. Because he's got like a tabard and cape. Like it's like 2 capes. It's like a... Yeah, we'll shield it the same color. Oh, you're talking about Battleforge meaning across detachments, so that if you have multiple detachments of different stuff, it wouldn't count as Battleforge. I don't know. I don't think you could ever stop that, especially at high-level tournament play, when that's not necessarily seen as a negative thing. I think there's a time and place for super competitive win-at-all-costs stuff. If you're playing it like the LVO or the Adepticon GT or something, and you go like trying to actually like do well in the tournament and you don't have a win at all costs list, you're probably doing it wrong. That's not the point. But if you're doing like the long war doubles and you have a win at all costs list, that's like in bad taste. So I think it's just like time and place kind of thing. And a lot of times I see arguments where people are like upset that they like played a win at all costs list at like a local shop or something, and to that I don't really have any sympathy, because that's kind of your responsibility to discuss that kind of thing with your opponent, even if it's a pickup game, so that you don't get the feel bads when that kind of thing happens. Because like for example, I could kind of walk you through what I would do in a similar situation. So if I'm like just kind of hanging out at the GameStop, or not GameStop, game shop, local game store, whatever you want to call it, looking for a pickup game, my first order of business is asking the person like what kind of game they want to play. Like, you want to play a competitive game? You can play a beer and pretzels game. You know, you want like kind of a balanced game, a little bit of challenge. You know, because like I'm not always looking for a competitive game. Like sometimes I'm just looking for, you know, kind of a game where we're both just kind of fucking around and having fun rather than trying to you know, be competitive. And if I like discussed that with somebody and they brought something that was like kind of a surprise, like if somebody was like, yeah, you know, just kind of a beer and pretzels game, and then I look at what they brought to the table and it's obviously like a dick stomp list, I just wouldn't play them at that point. I'd just be like, nope, I'm good. You're obviously an ass, so I'm not gonna waste my time with you. And then I don't have the feel bads. And I kind of feel like that's like the number one reason for people that kind of have like they kind of demonize the win at all costs people, is that there's like always some situation where they get taken by surprise by a win at all cost list, and I'm like, that should never happen because you're a grown adult and it's your responsibility to like set that up before you start rolling dice. And if you go to a tournament and you don't do well and you bitch about whack players, well, then you're kind of in the wrong. Like, you shouldn't have been playing that tournament. That's not how tournaments work. Tournaments are high-level competitive play. If you're not looking for that, then don't enter a tournament. Unless it's, like, specifically labeled as a gentleman's tournament or something like that. So, like, if you enter a gentleman's tournament, like, if I was at the Adepticon, like, gentleman's 40k tournament, and somebody plopped down, like, a win-at-all-cost list, like, dick stomp list across from me, yeah, I'd be a little upset. Because, I mean, like, obviously that's not the point, but most of the time people that do that in those situations get penalized, so it ends up being a waste of their time because they don't win anything. Which is, honestly, like, probably the best punishment for people like that, because obviously all they care about is winning. So, if you're like, well, you took advantage, so you don't get anything now. Because, like, I don't know how active you guys are on, like, the online 40k groups. I'm not like terribly active myself, but I mean, like, there have definitely been a whole number of posts on stuff like the 40k subreddit and some Facebook groups where people are kind of bitching about that kind of thing. And I'm like, why didn't you just ask beforehand? Like, why did you still play them if you knew that was going to be the result? And usually don't have an answer to that. And that's what usually confuses me, and why I don't have sympathy for that. It's just basic whining. Yeah, I heard that last year too, Separate Steve, that the gentleman tournament is like a boatload of fun. And the only reason I'm not doing it this time around is because I'm doing the Long War doubles, which is kind of the same thing. It's just, you know, it's the Long War doubles instead of the gentleman's tournament. Like, I view them both the same way, because in the doubles, like, your opponents score you. So if you're that dude who tries to like sneak in the I don't know what the example was last year, but some guy brought like 5 Riptides or some shit. Like, if you try to pull that shenanigans, then you just get shut down by your opponents in the scoring, and you don't win. Like, you don't have anything to like show for your time rolling dice. And it's also like a kind of like a communal mentality kind of thing. Like, everybody in that tournament knows that it's going to be like kind of a fun gentleman's tournament. Like, everybody wants to win still, but the idea is to not bring those kinds of armies. You're supposed to win on your tactics and your strategy, rather than the net deck list, which is what the GT does. Like, that's where all the GT players go, or the GT is where all of those players go. because the GT is like the cutthroat competition. It does look a little black on camera. This is just like some. This is the Vallejo Game Air Dark Green mixed with a little bit of model color black, because that dark green doesn't stick very well unless you airbrush it. So I just added a little bit of that model color black to give it some stick for the brush painting. It's a little darker than it would come out of the bottle, but to the naked eye, it's still green. You can still tell it's green. Just a black green. Plus, we're going to be working up through a number of greens to give this a really nice color gradient. So having a nice dark base green like this is no big deal. I mean, it's still just a little green. I mean, like once it dries up, you can see that it's definitely a green and not a pure black. It looks pure black when it's kind of wet, but once it dries out, it's definitely a green. Well, let's not have an argument about it, guys. There's no reason for that. My point was that winning at all costs should never be demonized the way that it is, because there should never be an issue. That's my point. In our community, that should never be an issue, because if you don't want to play that, then it's up to you as an adult to make that known. And if you start playing a game and it takes you by surprise, then just stop playing, because there's no reason to go along with that. And it shouldn't be demonized in GTs, because that's the entire point of entering a grand tournament, is to win at all costs. Like, you do everything that is within the rules to win, because it's a competition. Yeah, look at one. I mean, like, saying that somebody found that list on the internet, like, so if I like watched what won Nova, built that exact same list, and took that to the next tournament and got first place, that probably doesn't require a whole ton of skill. I mean, you still need to know how to drive the machine. Like, you can't just, it doesn't operate by itself. It's not a computer program. So, like, you still need to know how to use it to its full effectiveness. But the people that like find those lists and find the best, like, super optimal tournament winning lists for the first time, that takes a lot of dedication and hard work and a ton of skill. It's like researching like all the codexes and the rules and playing games and like distilling that down into that list. Like, that takes a lot of skill. I mean, I would say so, because I mean, like, there's a lot of time and money involved in 180 Brimstone Horrors and figuring out what to synergize those with. Because, like, you look at those lists, it's not always just specifically one thing. Like, yeah, there's always like one or two units that are spammed out, but there's always some kind of synergy that takes somebody to initially figure it out. What do we want to do next? Probably block in the stuff that we want to be our like black rubber material. That there's not a whole lot of that on us. We can do that real quick. Yeah, Apophis, I think that's a good point. Like, a good example, I'll give you a good example. So on the last podcast, Juice was talking about his newest, like, Imperial Guard list, which was something like 80 rattling snipers with, like, some other stuff and some vehicles. And I was listening to that, and, like, just hearing that come out of his mouth, you would not think that was a good list. But it's probably an amazing list, because he knows how to make tournament winning lists, and he does his homework on it, and he figures that shit out. And I think it's just something that, like, certain people always see. Like, they can see those strategies and synergies a lot easier than others, which is why the guys that kind of pioneer those tournament winning lists um, usually do so well with them, and the people that kind of net deck and just pull those lists off the internet and just rebuild it and put them on the table usually don't do so well, because they don't understand why it works the way that it does, like why they originally made those choices to build that list the way that they did. And I can say with probably, like, fairly confident that I'll probably never be the kind of player that like Kenny and Juice are, just because, like, I just don't have the fucking effort to look into the game that much. Like, I don't see that kind of stuff because I don't have the drive to pursue that kind of stuff with the same dedication that they do. And so I'll probably just never be as good of a tournament player as them. But that's also why I don't really play in large grand tournaments, because I know that no matter what I did, I probably wouldn't do very well, because I just don't see those strategies like those players do. I don't know where to even start looking for that kind of stuff. So, like, the stuff that I like, what I would think is a really strong army, probably in the grand scheme of things wouldn't be a very strong army compared to the stuff being on those tables. But I mean, like, I'll certainly go to a gentleman's tournament and put something solid together and try to win. All I gotta do is test it out, man. Like I said, just, like, schedule a game, play it out. You're like, hey, I'm trying to see if this list is like really strong or not. Like, do you wanna play against it? Help me figure it out. It's all about communication. I guess that was my main point, is that, like, 99% of the people that I see kind of demonize the win at all costs stuff just, like, don't have any communication with their opponents, and they end up having a bad time when that should never happen. What I'm gonna do next. Let's see. Let's start blocking in our metallics. That's probably gonna take a little bit. I'm looking for my black metal. If you guys, any of you guys out there haven't been watching my stream for very long, I like using scale color metallics from Scale 75. These are, like, literally the best metallic paints that I've ever used. I'm not saying they're the best in the world, because I haven't tried every single metallic paint in the world, but they're the best I've ever used. They're amazing. I believe it was JP Gray who initially told me about them, because I had never heard of Scale 75 before he started talking about them. So I got to give him props. Because once I started using them, I am never going back. Especially their golds. Oh, my gold. So easy to paint with. This black metal from Scale is still really, it's pretty good. I would say that, like, if I didn't have this and I still had to use stuff like Lead Belcher and Gunmetal from Vallejo, I'd be fine with the way that those paints behave. But oh my gosh, the golds from Scale just make my life so much easier. So far, all of their metallics have treated me well. Oh, Keylime switch to the Scale metals as well? Yeah, I've been using these for almost the entire time that I've been streaming on Twitch. So maybe like 8 or 9 months. Because it wasn't, I think it was in the first couple of weeks of me streaming that I made the first order and started using these metallics. But I don't know when other people picked them up. Oh, metal colors. I have used the Model Air metallic line. Is that what you mean? Because I haven't. If there's another line out there actually called Metal Color, then I haven't heard of that one until now. I know the only Vallejo lines that I know of is Model Color, Game Color, the airbrush versions of those, Mecha Color, and some of their metallics like Liquid Metal, I think is what they're called, like Vallejo Liquid Golds. But the liquid metallics, like the Liquid Gold, you have to use like mineral spirits with it. I'm not the biggest fan of having to do that when I'm just like trying to get through a miniature. I prefer the water-based paints. So I would say like Because I've used liquid gold before, and it's really nice, but it does have that added hassle of having to like use the mineral spirits to thin it down, and you have to like make sure that it doesn't dry out because the mineral spirits evaporate like crazy fast. Um, so as far as like looking good and ease of use, I would say scale color metallics are the best ones that I've ever used. But as far as like overall final look, the Vallejo liquid gold is probably the best one. It's just a pain in the ass. And you all know how lazy I am. Ledford Art, thanks for that follow. Appreciate you. Welcome to the stream. Oh, okay, let me look at that link there in a second, Lord Wedge. Try to get this section done. Metal color airbrush colors. I have not heard of these. I might have to try them out at some point. I wonder how they would do, because I almost never airbrush metallics. Unless the project just like calls for it. Like I think the last time I actually airbrushed anything metallic was when I did those custodies. Or like the one custody that I actually used real gold on. Because on the squad that I did, we did non-metallic metal instead of actual metallic. I don't know, usually airbrushing metallics is just kind of a pain in the ass. And I don't really do a whole lot of projects where and like the majority of like the model is going to be a metallic color. So I don't know. I'll have to give it a think. Oh, works good with the brush too? Okay. Check it out in the future. I've already got a problem corralling all the paints that I have, so I've been kind of avoiding buying any more. Okay. I don't see anything else that I want to be steel colored. So I think that is it. Oh, those look nice. Yeah, I'll have to give them a look in the future. Where is my Necro Gold? Do our golds next. Yeah, that's a good looking warjack, man. Should be proud. Okay. Some stuff to do on this tilt plate here. Okay, and I'm gonna do this. Librarians, skull and crossbones. Gold, I believe the normal Terminatus symbol. Their steel color. Okay, like that. Oh, I think this is fast. I guess it could be. I think it just stems from me being lazy. So I don't like doing like every little thing super fancy. I just like a nice solid execution on stuff. I don't know. It used to be where I would get into this bad habit of like spending so much time doing stuff, being like so slow, that like I would spend all this time on a model, and then it got to where like I've spent so much time on it that I'm just kind of like fed up, and I don't even care if it gets finished or not. So I learned to like get stuff done pretty quickly. Like, I don't know, I guess it's just a mentality thing. Like, I just don't understand the people that can spend like 12, 14 hours on a single model. It's just too much time. I think that's why I like paint. Like paint colors and brands that have a lot of that aren't cover really easily, like these scale golds. Because I hate spending a ton of time doing like a simple base coat. Like, when I have to work with paint colors that just like hate sticking to the model and just takes like forever just to do a solid base coat, I get really frustrated. Like, I hate paints that do that. Which is why like now I've gotten to the point where when I'm doing like base color coats, um, just like normal brush, not airbrush. I almost always use stuff like scale color and Vallejo model color because the paints have so much stick to them that you can get those like really thin coats in like one or two quick passes rather than like trying to do a base coat with color that's taking like 5-6 passes of a thin coat just to get a solid opaque layer. Like, man, if I had to do all the gold on this dude with like a fucking Citadel gold, I probably would just find a way to not paint gold. To be honest, because like those paints are such a pain in the ass to work with and make look good. I think that is all the gold stuff on the body. I guess I could do this little skull down here, like this little stud. So. About like that. And then we've got this one little thing on the shoulder pad. Okay, so that's all the gold. Yeah, Tigger, like if I was going to do a display model, it'd probably take me about 10 hours or so if I really wanted to go crazy on it. But like a lot of my whole painting system is like trying to find ways to cut time out of shit. So like most of my personal stuff that I put on the table is like really far above tournament quality. It's like tournament quality or better, but I don't spend very much time on each model. Or Pride, what's up, man? Go back to our model color black real quick, just to do this bolter casing. Okay. I don't think we have anything else that needs to be based in black. Good there. Kyotonashi! How's it going, man? I haven't seen you in a while. Ledford Art. What's up? I haven't seen you before. Welcome to the stream. Just working on our Terminator Librarian here. Blocking in all our colors. So let's see. What do we want to do next? Do the cover of our books. Let's see, what color do we want our books to be? Do them a dark brown. Okay. He's got this little like pouch here. Okay, I think that's all the stuff that we need to be brown leather. Color do I use for the Crux Terminatus on Terminator shoulders? It depends on what armor color it is and like what the scheme of the army is. For all the Deathwing guys, I'm just using like metallic, like steel gray metallic for all that. I think it's kind of similar to their like box art. So if we look at the box, you can see that a lot of that stuff is like gray metallic. I'm just like swapping certain colors for other things. Like instead of the reds, I'm going with more green because I like the bone color in green rather than the bone color in red. And for a lot of the stuff that would normally be red, like the bolter casings and some of the power fist casings, I'm using black, so the tone is a little darker. Like if I was gonna do ultramarines, I would probably do gold or maybe like a bone color, or even white. It just depends. We got about 15 minutes left. Let's get a base coat on these little tube thingies going from his psychic hood. I'll throw in like a contrast color, make those yellow. So we're going with our what is this? Yellow ochre from Model Color. Oh, that's cool. I mean, like red and black are always good together. So I see nothing wrong with that color scheme. Plus, like the gray metallic kind of just goes with everything. And it ends up looking really clean, so I mean it's really easy to do and it looks good with basically everything, so good there. Nice yellow ochre for those. I think on the Primaris Librarian they did those things yellow, and I liked how that looked, so just wanted to do that. 10 minutes. Let's see. Let's do a base coat of our flesh. Looking for my tan foot. There it is. So let's see. We're gonna mix a little bit of our army paint or tanned flesh with a little bit of our Game Air Beastie Brown. That's the base coat for our skin tone. Just let that sit for a minute because that paint's pretty thin. In fact, I'm going to try to get a little bit out of his mouth. He seriously does have a pretty nice sculpted mouth with like some teeth in there. I don't want the paint to like fill it up. So we'll just let it dry. And I mean, if like a little bit of blue is showing through, that's totally fine. Because like blue and purple and green are actually all part of natural skin tones anyways. So we just wanted like kind of a nice base in there to throw a wash over before we start highlighting. And we're going to be washing it with purple, so that is definitely not a big deal. Let's see, and I don't really think we have enough time to go into any other colors. So I think I'm just going to stop right there for tonight and clean up the brushes. Oh, Prophecy, yeah, that would be cool. The Last Chancers. I remember reading those books when I was a lot younger. The lore was like, it's so funny to see like how like homogenized the 40K like canon has become over the years. Especially if you started reading like Black Library back in the like early 2000s. Like, oh man, like so much has changed. Like the authors had like so much less restrictions on what they could do with stuff back then. Like there was some wild stuff going on in the books. that's quite a bit of work done for today. Like, he's getting to a point where once we block on all the rest of the colors and throw some washes on there, he's just ready for highlights. So because we don't really have a whole hell of a lot more time, I'm not going to try to block in anything else, because we still have to do like all of his little ropes, all of the parchment. Like, he's got parchment fucking everywhere, and a couple of other things before we start doing all of our washes. And then there's the process of highlighting, because we're going to be highlighting up all this green cloth, the green symbol on his shoulder pad, like all the metals be highlighted. Like, we still need to block in the grip on his little force halberd there, and all that stuff. So we don't have enough time to do anymore. But I mean, like, we've got him to this point, and we've got his base to this point, and like the base doesn't need a whole hell of a lot more work. It's just color in the leaves, throw a wash on those, do a highlight, and then some dry brushing of some dust colors, and this thing's done. So easy on that. Let's see if I want. So tomorrow, I will most likely not be streaming, because I'm actually hosting a tournament here in town tomorrow, and I think that's gonna run until about 7 p.m. And then I've got it's about like a 45-minute drive back, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to stream tomorrow. So what I can do is, for the librarian, I think we can just leave him be until we come back on Wednesday, since he's kind of like a change of pace from all of the Deathwing Terminators we've been doing, and I'll just work on the Deathwing Terminators in my off time, but I'll leave him for the on-stream project. So when we come back on Wednesday, I'll get him to a point where all of his colors are blocked in, and he's ready for washes and highlights. So that way, we can kind of be a little bit ahead of the curve on Wednesday, since we have an hour less. But probably won't be painting Deathwing on stream again until a little bit down the road, because once I get finished with this squad, this 5-man squad of Deathwing, I'm going to transition over to working on the Imperial Guard for the Long War Doubles in January. And we'll probably be working on those on stream a little bit after we finish this guy. I mean, because after we block in the grip on his staff here and the parchment, I think he's pretty much ready for washes and stuff. I mean, a couple of purity seals and stuff like that, but that won't take very long. And then we can start working up all of our highlights and getting him to a nice finished quality. So I'll just leave him for doing on stream for you guys, so you can see it start to finish. And for the rest of our Deathwing Terminators, I'll just do those on my own time, because I've already done 3 streams of them. And then so next weekend when we come back, I'll be doing Mordians probably, because I think we can probably get this guy finished on Wednesday. I don't think it's going to take me more than 2 hours to highlight up all this stuff. So then next Saturday and Sunday we'll be working on Mordians. Alright, so let's see who's on. Alright. Ledford Art, thanks for that, man. You too. Thanks for everybody for hanging out. Appreciate all the new faces. I love seeing the new faces in the stream every time we go live. It's awesome. Like I said, probably won't be streaming tomorrow because I do have to run that tournament. But I'll let you know what's going to happen. There's going to be some cool price support from Elric's Hobbies and tabletopgamer.com. So I'll be posting some stuff on the Jacket Club social media, so keep an eye out for that. And then our next stream would be this coming Wednesday at our normal time. So that's 8 to 10 p.m. U.S. Central Time on Wednesdays. I know that Wednesdays are a little rough for you European dudes, So I'll make sure to take lots of pictures if you can't catch the stream. And of course, it'll be archived. Check out the Jack Club's YouTube page. I'm putting up all of our past streams on the YouTube page as stream VODs so that those can stay up there, because Twitch deletes them after a certain amount of time. Dragon04, thanks for following. Appreciate that. Almost halfway to our 1,000 follower goal. That's pretty exciting. Almost to 950. Growing every time. I love it. So yeah, head over to the YouTube page for the stream VODs if you want to catch any of the previous stuff that we've done in case you missed it. Also check out the new studio video that we put up of how to do the Deathwing armor with the airbrush. It was this guy right here. This Deathwing guy right here. So last Wednesday, we started the stream, and this guy had already had his armor workup done and put a wash on it and everything, and we just started blocking in all the colors and highlighting those up to get him finished. So if you want to see like the how I do these Deathwing workups with the airbrush, with like the high contrast and all that, go check out that video. And if you want to just see normal Space Marine Dark Angels, our first studio tutorial is a start to finish tutorial, so it's a little over an hour long, but it's comprehensive, and that's with the normal like Codex Dark Angels green, some freehanding transfers, like all that kind of stuff. So that's a pretty good wealth of knowledge on there. Other than that, I think I'm gonna get out of here. Well, I appreciate that, Dragon. Because I am super hungry. I'm gonna go cook dinner. And we're gonna throw a host. Let me get that set up. Sure, that's all good. Cool. All right. So we're gonna throw a host over to AMP Services. He's a really cool painter, and we'll see what he's up to. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Have a good weekend.